Alex writes into beyond at ign.com just like you can. It says, hey guys, Beyond.
Beyond.
Do you feel the need and or pressure to not seem too biased towards PlayStation? I understand it's your main focus and passion, but I feel that you guys, especially Greg, are too cautious to say anything negative about Microsoft or their platforms. I know that you must try to maintain an objective opinion, but I feel you're much more comfortable making fun of Sony and their bad decisions than anything Microsoft has ever done.
I don't know if we're more comfortable, but I think we're more versed. Like, I think I can come in and talk about a problem I have with PS4 or my Wii U because I spend the most time playing Nintendo and Sony systems. And I can speak less to that on the Xbox One because I don't really find a lot of the things happening on the Xbox One very compelling to me right now. So, yeah, I can come in and be like, that thing on PS4 sucks.
Yeah.
Because I have to deal with it every day.
Right. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, you know, is there pressure to not seem biased towards PlayStation? You know, because obviously on the internet we're called PlayStation fanboys quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We don't care, of course, but that generates from the fact that, you know, for 6.5 years, my beat at IGN was PlayStation. So it wasn't that I was a fanboy. It was just that that's what I was paid to cover and be an expert on. And now that's, you know, Colin is leading that charge for PlayStation. So obviously, it's just like E3. We're talking about this either, you know, when I sit down at the end of an E3 and people go, what's the best thing you saw at the show? I feel like that's such a shitty question to ask or be answered because I only know what I saw. And so when you only know PlayStation, most of the jokes are going to come from that. Or if that's what we're being paid, not because we're not being, we don't only know PlayStation because we prefer PlayStation. We only know PlayStation or know it the best because that's what we get paid to know everything about, right? Now it's shifted a bit, right? Like, I can play anything I want and nobody's looking for me for PlayStation expertise. So you come in and you talk about Vita games I don't even know anything about. You educate me. Mm-hmm. And so that's how it works. And I mean, as far as like that especially Greg, are too cautious is anything negative about Microsoft, I'm negative about my own Xbox One all the time.
Yeah,
I was just on a Mario Kart 8 live stream where all I did was talk shit about the battle mode and
I was sitting right there with you.
Like, I don't know what you're seeing. I think it's
I mean, this comes from a lack again of context because they don't see and know and everything that we talk about or do here at the site. They don't see all of the tweets we do. We obviously don't hear our conversations with each other. I've said this before, right? Like, I prefer playing on PlayStation, and I'm not ashamed of that. That doesn't mean that I'm a fanboy. And if you feel like I am, then that's your prerogative, right?
Sure.
Like, there's nothing I can do to change your mind, and there's nothing I want to do to change your mind because that's up to you to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
When a game comes to, you know, my Wii last generation got a lot of play because I really loved Mario Galaxy and Zack and Wiki and all these random ass games. Conduit came out, and, you know, we messed around with all these random games, right? Like, where the games are, I'll go, right? And so when Xbox One gets its games this fall or early next year, especially Quantum Break and Sunset Overdrive, you better believe I'm going to play those games.
Of course, yeah.
And, you know, it just so happens that if there's, you know, next-gen cross-platform, you know, games, I'm going to play them on PlayStation 4. Yeah. And I prefer the exclusives and the exclusive studios that PlayStation has. I think they're much better than Microsoft's. And I prefer that ecosystem. I always tell people on Twitter, and I've said it on Podcast Beyond before, embrace that you're a PlayStation gamer because it doesn't mean that you are, or embrace that you're an Xbox gamer or a Nintendo gamer. It doesn't mean you're a fanboy. It doesn't mean that you don't want to. It means that there's only so many hours in the day. And if you want one of the experiences, the whole totality of an experience, then you only have so many hours a day. And I only have so many hours a day for PS3, PS4, and Vita, with the exception of when these games come to other consoles that I'm interested in. People were so surprised when I went to Insomniac and did the Sunset Overdrive stuff. I loved that game. I don't really care what hardware it's running on. The game looks really cool, and I think you're really going to enjoy it if you own an Xbox One. And a lot of people were giving Insomniac a lot of shit for moving over, but they don't do it for exclusivity. They do it for money, like any other business does, right? So these like console wars that these developers even get caught up in, like they don't give a shit. They don't care, you know. Like they want to they make games. They don't make just PlayStation games unless you're a wholly owned studio. So I encourage people to look at it from a different point of view, which is to say, like, if you own every console, that's fantastic. If you want to play just the biggest games on every console, that's fantastic. That's not the way I choose to play my games. I choose to get into the nitty gritty of the PlayStation Network. I choose to get into the nitty gritty of the Vita and the PS4. I play almost everything that comes out on PS4. And if you don't like it or you think that I'm a fanboy, that's kind of up to you, you know. But
I mean, again, that's your beat.
I
mean, I think all three of us prefer the PlayStation ecosystem right now, right?
Totally.
Like that's how it is, and like the reason I do is because I prefer the studios. I'm invested with trophies. When you're talking about, you know, like where am I going to play Watch Dogs
and trophies?
I'm going to play on the platform where I'm trying to, you know, always chip away at more trophies or talk to my friends or see what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like that's just different.
There's no shame in it.
No,
like that's what I'm always trying to tell people. It's just like, the word fanboy is used by, like, if you are a fanboy, and I don't think anyone could objectively call us fanboys because we've talked just an endless amount of shit about Sony.
Alex is saying that we make fun of Sony too much and not enough.
Yeah.
So if anything, we're Xbox fanboys.
And I've always been really proud of that because we see what it is, right? And when Sony was blundering along in 2008, 2009, we called them out on that, right?
Right.
And we've expressed honest to God astonishment that they haven't messed anything up with the PS4 yet. And and it's just based on the history, right? Like based on the PS3 and that third console curse and all those kinds of things. It's just, throw that word around if you want, use it as a pejorative if you want, but some people just like certain consoles. Some people don't have enough money for all the consoles. Some people like really just want to have that investment and know what's going on in that one console. The way we used to be with the NES and the SNES. That was the way I was. It wasn't until we got to the PlayStation generation, and especially the PlayStation 2 generation, that I started buying everything and had everything at Dreamcast and GameCube and Xbox. And I always say that I feel like the PS2, Xbox, GameCube generation was the least fulfilling generation I ever had, because I was all about being agnostic, completely agnostic, and I missed all of the minutia and all of the little things that came to all of these consoles. Like, I had 20 GameCube games, I had 30 PS2 games, I had 10 Xbox games, I'd play Halo, I'd play KOTOR, then I'd go play Resident Evil 4, then I'd go play Eco. But like all of the shit underneath, I miss so much of it.
Yep.
And I'm not going to do that again. So like, because that's where the fucking gems are, man. And you can only do that if you don't have a job, and therefore just play games all day.
Yep.
Or you dedicate yourself to one of these ecosystems, and that's what I've done.
Well, I mean, that's what the strength of IGN is, right? Is that we have people who prefer. I mean, McCaffrey prefers to play everything on Xbox, so he can bring his expertise to a table.
Yeah.
And obviously, Jose plays everything in Nintendo, and you can bring these people together and then have a rational thought. And then, of course, there's the Dota kids.
Yeah, I mean, we're booking E3 right now, right? And we're talking about when these press conferences happen afterwards, we're going to have podcasts and conversations and videos. We're going to recap them live on the set. And who do we want for this? So let's get, Brian and Colin for the Sony one. And let's get Brian and Jose for the Nintendo one. And let's get McCaffrey and Mitch for the Xbox one, whatever it is. You want to align with those things. So I'm not on some Dota podcast going, who's the dragon? I'm actually,
there's a jungle in this
game.
There's a
jungle. Yeah. So on the flip side, though, I have been called every possible combination of bad fanboy words from just an angry, miserable person, because they don't see that I do try to play a little bit on everything. Like this weekend I jumped from my Wii U to my PS4 to my Xbox One, and I was playing a game on my Kindle. Like, that's crazy. And I don't even think about it. I'm just like, these are video games. I'm having fun with them. I'm just hopping from thing to thing. Yeah. And I totally agree with you. You do miss out on a lot of the little things. And during the GameCube era, that's where I predominantly focused on GameCube. And I got to play all these weird games like Billy Hatcher and all this shit that everybody missed out on. But I was just like, hey, it's a new GameCube game. I want to check it out. This morning, the IGN tweeted about the order delay. And I just tweeted back, delay station 4. And somebody was like, yeah, fuck you, sucking Xbox One 720p dick. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I love the Xbox One. I love the PS4. If I would say, I would make a dumb joke about the Xbox One if it's one of its flagship titles got delayed too. Like, I don't care that much, and neither should you. Like, play games that make you happy and on the console that you enjoy, and stop fucking shitting on everybody for what they play things on.
Agree.